Ladies and gentlemen, so much news to go over. The Washington Commanders are expected to make some big moves in free agency in the NFL and the NFL draft. Breece Hall could get traded to the Washington Commanders. BTJ could be traded to the Washington Commanders. Rome Odunze could get traded. AJ Brown could get traded. They could bring in a running back like Rico Dowdle. They could try and draft Jeremiah Love. There's so many different opportunities to get football players and talent on this roster. Washington has the number 7 overall pick. They could easily use this pick to go get Tate, to go get Tyson, to go get Mekhi Lemon, to go get Jeremiah Love, who we love on this channel, and we think he's going to be an absolute monster in the National Football League. There's so much opportunity. Then the free agent wide receivers, not just the free agent wide receivers at the bottom. This is going to be the wide receiver board, the offseason landing spot, rookies and free agents and trade opportunities. The top group in this one territory they're not tier 1 in terms of like category. These are the biggest names, right? So Pickens, will he be tagged and traded? There's a real decent, not more chance of that happening than him getting signed to a new contract in Dallas. That's probably the most likely, but there's a bigger chance that he could get tagged and traded than people think. This is Jerry Jones. AJ Brown, some say he'll be happy, he'll be content. A lot of New York buzz right now. He's wearing a New York Giants, shirt, and reportedly followed Jackson Dart on social media and Cam Scattaboo and all the boys over there. But we don't even know to what degree that makes sense and, what platform and was he following them already? And did they just follow him and he followed them back? And he's like, this is good for contracts. This is good, good for potential getting what I want to stay in Philly. Like there's a lot of posturing, even for a person like AJ Brown, who isn't necessarily trying to sign an extension, but there's a lot of maneuvers to make. There's a lot of posturing all the time. So it doesn't really mean anything, but it's certainly getting kicked around. BTJ, he's not a good fit in this Liam Cohen system. They brought in 2 additional wide receivers during the season and Jacoby Myers. And then, they brought in Jacoby Myers and then they brought up Washington to become really their number 1 wide receiver. And we love Washington walking into this 2026 fantasy football season. He Parker Washington, P. Wash as we call him, has the potential to be easily the team's number 1 wide receiver on the year. Doesn't mean that Travis Hunter can't eventually become that as well. There's a lot of turmoil in terms of that conversation and like what fantasy owners and dynasty owners do with Hunter. Do you get rid of him? Do you sell him? Nobody should be cutting him. I think, and I talked about this last night, go watch that video on Travis Hunter specifically. I think there's some hidden value in Hunter becoming eventually a much bigger part of the wide receiver room than people expect by mid-season. Just like he was expected to not play DB, now he's playing DB. Now, people are making assumptions about him playing full-time DB. That hasn't even been hinted to fully yet by Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen's made a big point that they're going to get him the ball less on offense and get him on the field, more on defense, but he didn't really draw a line, and people are drawing lines as speculation, and people are taking that speculation and running with it as if it's a fact coming out of Jacksonville, and it's not. So there's still so much to be determined there. The way I look at Hunter, go watch the video again, but my summary is that Hunter is going to be a steal in fantasy football 2026 dynasty, existing leagues, and upcoming startups, and in redraft, because he'll be free. He's wide receiver 100 and, he's like number 140 or something overall, or whatever the hell it is. So there's no risk at all. He could be your wide receiver 5'6". He's certainly going to get 4 or 5, potential solid opportunities a game to get through 3 or 4 receptions, even with his probably going to play more DB role. But they're not just cutting him off. And remember, he's one of the biggest playmakers on the roster. If an injury strikes, anything happens midseason, he goes from rags to riches, and he truly is rags right now. So keep that in mind with Travis Hunter before people start jumping ship, start understanding the hidden value that's packaged into his now zero risk proposition. Odunze doesn't fit, kind of like BTJ, doesn't fit in that Chicago Bear system as well as he should. Number 9 overall pick. Did they try and get rid of him while the value's still high on the trade-in? These guys are rookies right here. Tyson, Tate, Lemon. These guys are complete free agents right here. And I didn't put them in these tiers, so to speak, to keep them like segregated from trade potential or tag, rookies, and then total free agents, unrestricted free agents. They just happen to line up that way in terms of my my preference as well. And I'd even say that like Alec Pierce, you could almost put over here, and Dobbs kind of has like his own tier right here. I think Alec Pierce is that good. So we'll put Pierce right here. We'll take Wan'Dale. I almost like Pierce more than Wan'Dale, to be honest. I think I'm going to do this. This might ruffle some feathers. I like Wan'Dale a lot. I do. But I think Pierce is a much better option. Long term, short term. So I'm gonna move it like this. This is gonna piss off some people, but this is the way it's my show. It's the way I see it. I like Wan'Dale a lot, but I just think he belongs over here. Let's move Jennings over and Shaheed's not really a long. I put Shaheed on there, but I wasn't trying to order it like that. Okay, so I think it's something along the lines of like that. That's my preference. But it just so happens that we're having the free agents on this in this 3 tier. All the rookies are in 2, and honestly, I guess I could put a Dunze down here after the 3 rookies. Well, I don't know. It depends. I like a Dunze a lot, but I think these 3 rookies are. I'd probably put it like this. I'd probably put it, if I was ordering anything around, I'd put a Dunze after Tate and Tyson, and I put Lemon after a Dunze. But I guess I am kind of using these categories to divide up those guys right there. But everything else is pretty much in order of the way I would rank them. And it just so happens they fall into categories. Washington's got a lot of choices to make. There's a lot of choices to make. And whether it's a trade for A.J. Brown, BTJ, Odunze, or a tag and trade for Pickens, or whether it's taking one of the rookies at number 7 overall, or whether it's taking Jeremiah Love at number 7 overall and then bringing in Mike Evans or Alec Pierce, there's so much that can happen to turn around this situation, which was headed in such a good, positive direction prior to JD5 falling apart. And now we're looking at a completely different offense with Blau being promoted up into offensive coordinator, and people saying that that's potentially a risky move. I like it. I think Blau. It sounds we do have to go off of some of what we're hearing, because it's not like anybody really has a good grasp on how good Blau is going to be and how involved he truly is. It's all hearsay. But everything we're hearing is he's one of the most exciting minds in the game, up and coming. He may be the next McVay or Shanahan. And while that could end up unraveling and not being the case, we really don't have any sort of proof whatsoever other than the tremendous amount of support that Blau got. It's exciting to know that he's thought of this well inside the organization. It's exciting to know that more than one team, at least 2 teams, had him targeted as a top 2 option as a offensive coordinator. And so Washington had to act fast in order to keep Blau, because Blau would have been gone. And that's it says something. If two more than one team, at least 2 teams, maybe 3, were targeting him as a top 2 option. So that gives me, that's still some confidence. Also, Adam Peters is really good at what he does. And even though they had an unsuccessful year last year, and people are going to judge Adam Peters for that, I don't. Adam Peters couldn't control a lot of what happened. JD5 got injured. Debo dropped off, partly because JD5 got injured. McLaurin, that situation didn't do justice. The holding out, the injury. This is why you don't hold out. This is why I'm scared for Pickens' ability to stay healthy if he ends up having a lengthy holdout and Jerry drags out this contract in Dallas and eventually trades him, and he's how is that going to look? We definitely don't want holdout. Holdout is so bad. James Cook's the only one that survived the holdout well, and he played outstanding last year, but he held out, and that was risky, and that was very rare that a player holds out and does well. Debo proved it. Ayuk proved it. Bosa proved it. A lot of Niners McLaurin, time and time again, if you hold out, there's injury waiting for you in a bad season. You get the big fat contract, you held out, you end up getting hurt, and then nobody gets what they want. It's except for the player getting all the money. So hopefully, there's not that kind of situation on any front, Pickens or whatever. But this situation in Washington, they have a real chance to bring in a solid running back. Let me go back to the free agent board, but this time show you the running back board. There's a solid amount of players. Breece Hall would be phenomenal in Washington if they could do some sort of tag and trade in New York. Maybe New York just lets Breece Hall go. I doubt they do. That they'll probably tag him. They'll try and work out a long-term deal, but he could be tagged and traded. So Breece Hall heading to Washington in a tag and trade, and then they draft one of the rookies or bring in Mike Evans. ETN probably staying where he's at, but it's certainly an option. Walker probably staying where he's at, but it's certainly an option. Javonte Williams could most likely be re-signed by the Dallas Cowboys, but Jerry is in charge, and Jerry, even though he said it's a priority for him, who the hell knows what he wants to pay him. We got Rico Dowdle. We got Pacheco. I like Pacheco, but I don't love Pacheco. I do like Rico Dowdle a lot. That could be interesting in Washington if they do decide to invest heavily in one of the rookie wide receivers at the number 7 overall draft selection again right here. This would be probably my favorite option because I want JD5 to get like a Jordan Tyson. If I could choose anything to be the case, let me move these guys over just out of sight. If I could choose anything to be the case, it would be Jordan Tyson to Washington to play with JD5, who has an absolute cannon and his accuracy is pristine. Jeremiah Love would probably be my next kind of thought. Washington drafts Jeremiah Love, and they take him at this number 7 overall pick, and then they go ahead and bring in Mike Evans or Alec Pierce. But so many things can happen. From the trades, the A.J. Browns, the BTJs, I don't know what's my favorite ultimately, because I say one thing, and then I like the other idea that we cook up. So I don't know. I guess I would probably say Jordan Tyson, ultimately my favorite because the longevity of the wide receiver being attached to JD5 versus like I love Jeremiah Love, but then you get Mike Evans and you got to bring somebody else back in. Alec Pierce and Jeremiah Love could be my second option. I love the idea of Jeremiah Love in Washington, and I love the idea of Alec Pierce stretching the field in Washington. That would be good, but I think Tyson and Breece Hall would be my ultimate favorite. But Tyson, some form of Tyson and an RB in Washington would maybe be my wish list. That's kind of what I want. But yeah, Hall would be unbelievable. Hall to the Chiefs, Love to the Chiefs, Hall to the Commanders, Love to the Commanders. In any one of those scenarios, if we get both of them, if KC gets Jeremiah Love and Washington gets Breece Hall, or Breece Hall goes to Washington and KC gets Jeremiah Love, we'll be happy as can be. We'll be happy campers if that happens. That would be probably the most ideal. But let's kick around your thoughts. What do you think is most likely to go down? I don't think the Commanders are going to sit on their hands. Debo's as good as gone. Debo probably ends up in San Francisco if I had to guess, and re-signs with the Niners. But Debo, I have a feeling that he, he's definitely gonna be elsewhere, but he's not a consideration here. They need a wide receiver, and as much as Blau, who just came out and said that the offense will be built and structured around getting Terry McLaurin 10 targets a game, that can certainly change. You remember Liam Cohen's first thing out of his mouth was, and you can think of Liam Cohen and Blau in a similar light because that's how people view Blau, and we're hopeful Blau becomes that kind of coach, that kind of offensive coordinator. But you heard Liam Cohen, one of the first words out of his mouth is, we got to get Brian Thomas Jr. 10 targets a game. That's not priority anymore. Liam Cohen adjusted and adapted. So don't think just because Blau said 10 targets a game for McLaurin that can't become 10 targets a game for a Jordan Tyson or a Cornell Tate or a Mike Evans or whatever. I do believe Mike Evans is teeter-tottering on that. Maybe he's not the same player he once was, but I do think that there's a strong chance he gives you at least that Devontae Adams production. Double-digit touchdowns. Maybe it's not 14 and league leading like Devontae Adams was, but maybe it's 11, maybe it's 10 and 890 yards and 65 receptions, which honestly is wide receiver 15 or higher. And so in fantasy and in NFL, that's a top 15 wide receiver. That's a high-end wide receiver too in fantasy and top 15 in the league. If you're getting about 911 touchdowns and 60, let's call it 65 receptions, that is a pretty damn good season, especially if we've got a lot of injuries like we did last year, which I fully expect, and I think we need to fully expect moving forward. I've got a super chat here. Let me go over to Rumble real quickly and just make sure my Rumblers are taken care of over here. Rumble, I appreciate you. We've got in between 10 and 25 people on Rumble. Constantly got Hag over there. Aldi's over on Rumble. We got 420 man over on Rumble. We've got who was first in the building? Aldi was first in the building. Hag, appreciate you being there, second in the building. And 420 man, you guys rock. If New Age Outlaw or Landman or Hebrew Hammer end up joining on Rumble, I'm very, very glad you guys are all there. Rumble links in the description of the video. Rumble's growing like crazy. As soon as Rumble gets to 10K, we're about 3.6K? 3.63K. Once we get to 10K, we're growing really fast. This could happen in a month or two. We're going to have a new show emerge on Rumble that's a Rumble geared show. And we'll see if we let YouTube tag along on that one, but it will be geared and structured and for Rumble, you know, and it's going to be, you know, tagged Rumble. It's going to have a little bit of a different vibe, and it'll be an amazing show you're going to want to be a part of. Jonathan, appreciate you. Dynasty, full PPR. What are we doing with Woody and Manungai in Dynasty? Great question, and standing ovation for.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah, buddy.
Thank you very much for the super chat, young man. Woody, I'm getting rid of. I wish it wasn't the case, but I can't see Houston not addressing the running back position, number one. Number two, their offensive line was so putrid last year. I until I see it repaired, I don't know. I don't know if they have the right personnel to repair it. We'll see. And then on top of that, it's like, you know, the guy gets hurt every single game. I would just get rid of him as high a value as you can. Feels like he's a potential starting running back, and so that gives you some sort of maneuverability. I don't think he'll do much one-for-one, but if you throw him into a deal, someone might have more of a what-if goggle on, and they say, oh, what if? You know, I'm getting this guy, and maybe what if Woody? So 2-for-1. Get rid of two players for one. Make Woody Marks that gravy. As for Manungai, I accidentally released this the other day. I'm going to hit the button again. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to accidentally hit the button again. There'll be a show on it eventually. Mid-season monster. I didn't mean to hit that. That's a surprise laying dormant for a while. So you see anything? I didn't see anything. Jonathan, appreciate you. Manungai's got a lot of hidden value. Now, he could get that stepped on by a rookie, an incoming rookie, and I surely bet that Ben Johnson, with the way that these rookies will be extremely valuable in this draft, because they're going to go so late that Ben's going to grab one of them. But that's why Manungai is a mid-season monster, because I don't know if he for sure enters week one with any sort of like guarantee at all. I think the injuries and weird opportunities open doors for him, so I wouldn't be drafting him as a starter with that situation exactly the way it is. It's complex, but it's certainly a nice one in terms of the value, because nobody's drafting Manungai. He's super low value. Cost of entry's ridiculously near free, and the upside's tremendous, you know, and they trust him, and he's got the system down. And even if an incoming rookie comes in and it seems like a sweet, yeah, new rookie, big name, doesn't mean Ben Johnson's going to lean on him over Manungai if something were to happen. I just think that Manungai's got some seriously hidden value, but he doesn't necessarily walk in with it. He could, but right now he doesn't walk in with it. Guys, dial in if anybody has any predictions or hopes, or you want to throw your good vibes out there for one of these situations to go a certain way. Like, I want them to draft Jeremiah Love at 7, Smitty. This is what would happen. Who do you think they'd go get at wide receiver if they did? Or, hey, Smitty, what if they traded for A.J. Brown or BTJ? What would they then do? Could they go after Jeremiah Love? Or would they, if they didn't go after Jeremiah Love, what running back would you want in that situation? Dial in. We'll kick it all into high gear. But do know that the Commanders fully intend, according to multiple reports, this has been reported by like 5 different people across the last like 2.5 weeks, really, with a big emphasis on it last night, that the Commanders are expected, with a ton of cap space, expected to be heavily involved in not only the free agent market, but in trades and offseason moves. The Commanders could be, with Adam Peters in charge, the guy that found Kittle and Purdy and all these successful Niner deep grabs. He even scouted Ayuk and brought Ayuk into San Francisco. And Ayuk proved to be a very, very good commodity. But Ayuk fell apart when Adam Peters was already gone in Washington. And he saw that happen. I don't think he wants anything to do with him. He would have traded for Ayuk because that's what JD5 wanted. And you would have wanted to keep JD5 happy. And he said, no, I'm not trading for Ayuk. He's a basket case. And Ayuk has been nothing but trash and a basket case ever since that moment. And so I don't think Ayuk is the top option for Washington. Could it happen as a free agent on low money? Maybe, but they're not interested in trading for him. Ayuk is as good as gone. He will be, his guaranteed money has been removed from the equation. He's going to be, they're just moving on. They're cutting him. And so will he get big money? He'll probably get, somebody's going to be stupid and give him a stupid amount of money after he just robbed the Niners. Someone's going to give him a dumb amount of money. I don't think it'll be Adam Peters. So that's the way I feel about that situation. And I don't think they want to dance with the Niner wide receivers anymore. Adam Peters is his own man. Adam Peters created his own culture. And Adam Peters doesn't want to borrow old tendencies, bad habits, and a diva and just lunatic type behavior from Ayuk. He doesn't want to infect the locker room with that garbage. Anybody that thinks that Ayuk is guaranteed to go to the Washington Commanders because JD5's best friend is Ayuk, I don't even know if that's even the case anymore. I don't even know how close they are. Maybe Ayuk's lost it and he's not even talking to JD5 anymore. We don't really even know what that relationship truly is. We just know that they played together at ASU. They've been buddies. They wanted to play together last year before Ayuk completely unraveled during Ayuk's holdout. And I just don't think that's a plan of attack. I want to know what you think. The phone lines are open. I hope, my ultimate goal is that Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate land in a Washington Commanders uniform for the longevity of JD5 and that wide receiver from a fantasy perspective.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And we'll discuss whatever idea you want to discuss. Go ahead. You're live. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Michael from San Diego, Smitty. I'll be quick. I got a quick one. Speaking of JD5's BFF, what do you think about Rachaad White potentially headed there? I know it's not exciting. I'm kind of hoping he is just so I can deal him in Dynasty, but just wanted to get your thoughts on the odds of him going to Washington.
Anything can happen, but he's one of the lowest names on the totem pole. So I don't know. I honestly don't think he gets a starting job anywhere. And I think the Commanders, if they go after a running back in free agency, I think they're totally trying to find a starter. So I don't see Rachaad White. Rachaad White's best days are behind him.
I agree.
He's gonna probably land somewhere where he can be a third down back and do kind of like what an Estime would do, on a roster or be kind of in that range. But I think the rookies there's so many rookies, and just because they're going to go late in the NFL draft doesn't mean they're not good. They're good. It's just their market value is putrid. So there's so many running backs sitting here. This is just an enormous list of RBs with very few teams. I think we have really ultimately. So New Orleans is the top landing spot for a running back. KC probably number 2, Dallas 3, Washington 4, Vikings 5. You could really reorder this a little bit. The only one that feels locked in is the Saints. And I could almost say the Commanders could be 2 for me if I knew how they were going to use their RB. Vikings is intriguing. These other options here, the Jets become an option if Hall gets moved on to one of like the Saints or Chiefs, then the Jets pop up. The San Francisco 49ers are there because there's going to be offseason conversation about how much does Christian McCaffrey have left in the tank as a running back, because he completely dipped in his efficiency as an RB last year, and he really just got used so much as a wide receiver. Shanahan has already made it known that if it ever comes to a point where they've got to really move him into more of a wide receiver role, they will and could. And so that's why San Francisco's on the board in case that conversation starts getting kicked into high gear. Tennessee is a decent spot. Cardinals, who knows? But ultimately, you have 5 spots for starting running backs. So Rachaad White's going somewhere completely cloudy because you have Jeremiah Love as the top running back option for free agency and NFL draft combined. Or you could even put Breece Hall number 1. Breece Hall, ETN, Walker, Williams. Now, Walker, Williams, and ETN probably all go back to their homes. Breece Hall could. And so, therefore, you would have Love, all the other rookies, and then Dowdle, Pacheco, Rachaad White's in that mix. So,
Tyler Algier?
There's a chance. Yeah, Algier, too. Definitely. I don't know why. I got to find. I think I don't have his graphic, and so I think I just continue to neglect putting it on here. But let me see if I ended up making it. I thought I did make it. I threw it on the screen here. Let me see if I can find it. I got to do that, though. Yeah, Algier's on this list, too. But because we have Javonte taking this spot, then we only have really 4 spots that have starting vacancies with Love, Dowdle, Pacheco, then probably Rachaad White, but all those other rookies that are free, We'll see. Anything could happen. I mean, could Rachaad White fall into, let's say, a Tennessee Titans situation and then be the starter there for games? Sure, it's possible. But I don't think he's not even close to being like the top 7 option out of all the rookies included.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think Algier to me is more of an interesting option. I'd like to see where he goes, considering his last month as a rookie was really good.
Yeah, he's not bad. Certainly intriguing. I think a team will look at him as a potential starter. Like Minnesota could bring him in as a starter. I could see that happening. I'm not saying they will. I could see the Commanders looking at it. Could KC maybe, but I truly don't think he's on the same level as any of the top 5 here. So I'd have Algier. I'd even rather have Dowdle than Algier for a year. If I'm talking long term, then maybe not because Dowdle's older. But I definitely have every one of these top 5 ahead of Algier for sure. And then 1 or 2 of the rookies, no doubt, I'd have over Algier. So Algier to me would be at best 8 overall out of all the running back options. All right, last thing, and then I gotta roll.
No, that's it, man. I appreciate it.
Later, bro.
Have a good one.
Bruce, you're live. Hello.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Smitty.
World.
Do you think with the Commanders saying they're going all in, would you say they're trading draft capital and then maybe with the 7th overall pick going O-line?
They could. Adam Peters doesn't trade draft picks very easily. He's so good at scouting. He loves his draft picks. But in that, he's either going to go 1 or 2 ways. He's going to find that wide receiver like he did Ayuk, and Ayuk didn't work out, but that's not his fault. He scouted the talent. He didn't coach it. He didn't let it unravel. But Ayuk was really good at a time, and I was a big advocate of Ayuk. First of all, I'm from ASU. Went to ASU. Graduated from ASU twice over. And so I'm a big, connoisseur of ASU ball. And Jordan Tyson, JD5, Brandon Ayuk, all ASU, Rachaad White. Like, there are a lot of ASU guys in this conversation. And I'm not biased toward it. ASU's produced some good, solid players that have come out. Scataboo also. So ASU does deliver, some solid prospects, and it's not a bias thing. I'm not like before this group of players. You never heard me talk about ASU players. I never tried to say, "Oh, this ASU guy." It's just been lately they've been really pulling in solid talent and producing it. But I think that what was the question, Bruce? What was I saying?
It was if they would trade their draft capital for the players.
Oh, yeah.
Trade a 3rd-round pick and
right.
and then
right. So my thinking is that Adam Peters knows that he can find the talent in the draft. The question would be, does he believe Tyson or Tate or Mekhi Lemon are harder to replicate in 2nd, 3rd round value than the offensive line is? And my thinking always is the skill position player is a lot harder to find later in the draft than the offensive lineman, because you can coach up offensive linemen. There's a reason the Niners are always walk in with a offensive line that everybody says is going to be the worst. And oh my God, they have nobody. And they always produce because they coach them up beautifully. And same thing with like corners sometimes. And the Niners are certain positions Shanahan won't draft or that the Niners won't draft, and they try and coach it up. And you could definitely coach up offensive line a lot easier than you can coach up somebody in this third round, second round to be Jordan Tyson. This is why Jamar Chase was the only pick to make for the Cincinnati Bengals, and why I was one of the only content creators that was literally beating a dead horse on the topic, even with former head coaches in the NFL on my show. And arguing with them about why Jamar Chase was the only option for Joe Burrow. And if you guys remember Hugh Jackson, former Browns coach, on here arguing with me about it, literally laughing at me on my own show because I'm like, this is the pick. He's like, you got to protect Joe Burrow. And that's certainly true. And the Bengals certainly did fail in coaching up and developing their offensive line, but it was the move to make, and you can certainly coach it up. You can certainly, fix it. And while Joe Burrow has been injured, they went immediately to a Super Bowl. They drafted Jamar Chase. I was immediately correct. I said they win the division. He laughed in my face, and the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase and immediately went to a bowl. Now, they lost, but it was still remarkable. So I think Adam Peters knows that the skill position player is important. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know if they could give up a third rounder, which I think he would see as suitable, very worth it to get Breece Hall, which is crazy that Breece Hall is only commanding a third rounder. I'd give up a second in a heartbeat. That's me. These NFL coaches, they covet their picks like crazy. I don't understand it. I'd go get Breece Hall with a third round pick. I would draft Jordan Tyson, and that would be my ultimate ideal scenario. The most ideal scenario. And then you look at, they got space to try and get some of this done. They got some of the best cap space and situation out of all the teams in the National Football League. You could then go after Isaiah Likely. You could go after Kyle Pitts. You could go after Goddard. You could go after Njoku. Imagine adding an Njoku or a Goddard or a Kyle Pitts to this situation. Imagine, honestly, I'd go get Alec Pierce and still draft Jordan Tyson. I'd bring in Mike Evans and still draft Jordan Tyson. Or you could bring in Mike Evans or Alec Pierce and then draft Jeremiah Love. I do believe that we're not going to watch with all the reports suggesting that the Commanders are going to be heavily involved, I do believe we're not going to watch the Commanders piss this opportunity away. Draft just an offensive lineman, not get Alec Pierce or Mike Evans or Breece Hall or Walker or ETN. I don't think they're just sitting on their hands. It's an attractive place to play. No, the league consensus out there, especially from the players' perspective, is not, the Washington Commanders are not very good. Everyone thinks that they've got potential. Everybody loves JD5 still in the National Football League. No one's thinking he busted because he had an injury-plagued season. It's an attractive place to land.
Yeah, like mine was, I would trade the Jaguars my second-round pick, and then I would give the Jets my third-round pick, and then I'll take BTJ off your hands, and then I'll take Hall off your hands.
I mean, if it were up to me, you'd have Hall, BTJ, Mike Evans. I'd get Rico Dowdle just for shiats and giggles. I'd trade for Joe Milton. Like I'd get rid of all my picks, and I'd have a arsenal of weaponry on a bus heading over to Washington. I mean, it's crazy. The draft capital, valuation is insane. Worldwide with a super chat. Let me read this real quick. Worldwide, appreciate you dropping the super chat. Worldwide says, how did you do at Costco the other day? It literally my favorite place to buy clothes, and the croissants are unbelievable. We got a thing of croissants. I usually get the cheesecake. What are they called? They're like cheesecake croissants, essentially, too. So we get the regular croissants, which are amazing. They're like $5.99 or $7.99, and you get like 12 of them, 15 of them, whatever. The kind of croissants they sell at like Starbucks for like $8 a piece. You can get 20 or 15 of them or whatever. So we got croissants. They didn't have any clothes that I liked. I did look, usually you get it in waves, right? You walk in and you see like, some Hurley or some O'Neal or something like that. They didn't really have anything this go around, but that's okay. I check every month or so. But yeah, Costco, anybody that doesn't shop at Costco is probably 21 years old. They have no clue. They think you're buying a Costco shirt. They don't realize that you're buying the same clothes they're buying for 3 times the cost at Costco in bulk. They get a call in O'Neill or Hurley. They say, hey, this is Hurley. Costco, we got an overstock here. Do you mind taking it off our hands? Costco says, bring it on over, Red Rover, and you've got this amazing brand sitting on a table, and you got Frickle Freddy over here that thinks, oh, everyone's gonna know I went to Costco. How you're wearing name brands? What's wrong with people? Costco's the best place to go get clothes. I'll tell you right now. It is. It's hit and miss. You're not gonna find something every time you go, but when you find it, it's gold. The only problem I have is I wear a size 13 shoe. And I don't know if it's only for little people, it seems sometimes with the shoes. Size 1 through 12. They stop at 12 every time. I'm looking for 13s. They occasionally bring in a 13. When I see that sign says 1 through 13, a big smile on my face. I take all the boxes down. You see these stacks of boxes on the aisle. I'm pulling them all off. I'm trying to find a 13. You find it, and it's the brown color instead of the white or the black. And you don't like the brown or whatever. It's Costco's the place to be. You don't like Costco? Good luck. Good luck to you. Thank you, Worldwide. Appreciate you. But pizza was unbelievable. You can't even order the pizza, though, on the phone. You guys saw that. You call in. You have to order, I think, 3 or more pies, I think, in order to call over the phone. So you got to go wait an hour and a half. So I just walk up and I say, I'll get 6 slices to go, and the slices are like 2 slices, right? So I get the equivalent of a whole pizza, and you just end up, buying it nearly the same price, but you don't have to wait the hour. So they give me a stack of pizzas in foil that's this tall, and I walk out there with sometimes over a 1 single pie. Bruce, anything else?
I got one more question, and this relates to BTJ and Travis Hunter. If Travis Hunter is traded, or not Travis Hunter, BTJ is traded, how much more offense would you put on Travis Hunter?
Yeah, we talked about it all last night, so I would go watch that show. We cover all those angles. At the end of the day, what I said last night was that Travis Hunter has built-in sleeper value for later. It just, when does it get ignited? Does BTJ get injured? Does he get traded? Like, buying Travis Hunter right now as if he's never playing offense that means he's free. And you're only going to see that open up to more later, because that's not even what Liam Cohen's saying. Liam Cohen's saying he'll play a lot more defense this year and, may not be on the field as much on offense. And everybody's made up their own narrative, and they're telling that narrative, and people are believing it. All these other shows are telling people, oh, Travis Hunter's no longer a wide receiver. He's full-time DB. And then some people have reported it properly, saying he's going to be part-time wide receiver, which isn't really even been what Liam Cohen's exactly said. But I do believe that it is more along those lines than it is him being full-time. But for anybody to think that this doesn't develop again for him, Liam Cohen never said he's not going to ever be a wide receiver 1 for us. He said he's going to get more work on defense. We obviously have a lot of wide receivers and everything. But the moment someone gets hurt or traded, that changes. The moment when he does go on the field and gets his 3 to 4 receptions a game, let's say, and he starts scoring touchdowns because he's so crazy good, guess what happens? Guess what happens? Yeah. He gets more touches. And then it doesn't matter what Liam Cohen said in the offseason. Liam Cohen said in the offseason, and this is not to rip on Liam Cohen. Cohen did a great job. But Liam Cohen said in the offseason, I want to get BTJ 10 targets a game. Did he give BTJ 10 targets? Did BTJ fall out of favor? Yeah. So whatever's said now, don't go get Travis Hunter. He's a great value. And you're not paying anything close to anything worth anything. So it's all upside.
My opinion on that is maybe in the NFL, and this is just my opinion, Travis Hunter is having a harder time playing DB than he is wide receiver. So he's like, all right, kid, you're going to play both sides of the ball, but we're going to focus you more on defense because you're having more trouble on defense than you are on offense. Like offense, you're weapon X. Whatever.
Yeah. Bro, Travis Hunter still has If anybody thinks that what's being done in week 1 is the ultimate, no matter what, end game design and architecture of Travis Hunter's role, it is oblivious as the people that you could say was us that thought he would get all the work at wide receiver, and but they messed up. Look, Travis Hunter wasn't bad at doing the dual position thing. And people that say he just needs to pick one, but no, that's not what they want to do. It's not what they're going to do. And yes, it can work. But those that messed up were the coaching staff. And on that level, the preparedness of this was piss poor. The execution of it was piss poor. It's not Travis Hunter's fault. And while they will dial back, it sounds like offense a little bit and then put him in on defense more, that might not work out as much as people think, and they put him back on. Like, that's what I'm saying. The value, the hidden value of Travis Hunter, buying him or trading for him right now with the expectation that he's not even a receiver anymore, is the lowest risk proposition you could find. So Travis Hunter is a remarkable buy right now, and a remarkable draft in Underdog promo code Smitty on Underdog, where Underdog will match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. Please hit the link that I'm about to drop in the live chat right now and draft a team on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Using this link, I'll drop the link in Rumble land first. There you go, Rumblers. And then over on YouTube. But I'm telling you right now, Travis Hunter it's ridiculous the way people are painting this narrative. That's all I'll say. But go watch the show on it, Bruce. I go over it in tremendous detail.
Okay.
All right, my boy.
All right,
Appreciate
my boy.
it. Later.
Yep. See.
Guys, I'll take one more phone call. Dial in. Make sure you're subscribed on Rumble. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. I don't know if we're going to do a Dynasty show tonight. We'll definitely have a Dynasty video tomorrow or a Dynasty live stream tomorrow, maybe both. We're definitely going to have Rumble and YouTube live stream tomorrow and tomorrow evening. So at least 2 more Rumble and YouTube videos tomorrow, and at least 1 Dynasty something tomorrow. So that will be 2 YouTube and Rumble shows. One's going to be a stream. They both might be streams. So that's 2 videos there. 2 on Rumble, 2 on YouTube, but there are 2 videos, and then 1 Dynasty video. A scary Terry season, says Silver. Right now, yeah. And it sounds like they want to structure this entire passing, game around him. And he is great when he plays. The question is will he stay healthy? And I think they know they cannot just rely on him. They cannot go through what happened last year when they have no wide receivers and the wide receivers are injured. They're going to draft, I think, a rookie receiver, whether it's Denzel Boston in round 2 or 3 or Jeremy Bernard, and understand how good Adam Peters is at finding one of those wide receivers. Jeremy Bernard is one of those guys I think that Adam Peters would see as a talent. Malachi Fields, I could see Adam Peters looking at Malachi Fields and going, this guy's top 4 wide receiver capable, top 3 wide receiver capable, could be the number 2 wide receiver on my mind. I could see him finding and pinpointing a wide receiver like that. I love Denzel Boston. I love Malachi Fields. I think Casey Concepcion has some of that value as well. Those are all very, very good options. If they do decide to draft a receiver later, not in round 1, not with this number 7 overall, even if they trade the 7 down to 15, if they decide not to go with one of the top 3, which are Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and Malachi Fields, those wide receivers I just named are very good ones on the list. And if anybody can find and pinpoint the right player for JD5, it would be Adam Peters. He's an amazing scout, one of the best to do it. Jacoby Lane, he's not bad. Is Parker Washington top 12? I don't know if I'd put him top 12, but I'd say he's definitely a top 15 to 20 wide receiver. He's going to be on the Moon Man list. We didn't put him on officially. There will be a video for that. Maybe that video will be tomorrow, so hang tight on the P-Wash video. But P-Wash has tons of value. Even though I love the idea of Hunter returning at some point to massive volume and becoming the one, Parker Washington is the one. Parker Washington is the wide receiver 1 in Liam Cohen's Jacksonville Jaguars arsenal. And more importantly, who's T. Law good at throwing the football to? Not BTJ. When Mac Jones was in the game in 2024, that's where BTJ went and exploded. I don't have the exact games that it that it was, but it was like this was Mac, and in the time frame that Mac was in there, and then T Law, and it was like this is playing like a 10, this is playing like a 0. It was crazy. It was regardless of where it was like with Mac Jones right here, it was elite, and then T Law comes in, and BTJ is playing like that. That was 2024, and then in 2025. BTJ played like this with T Law from weeks 1 through 17. This being a 10, this is BTJ. BTJ played like this all year long with T Law. Who played like this? P Wash. Mac Jones and T Law and BTJ they're like polar opposites. They don't attract. Do I think you can squeeze out another year out of Debo? Probably not. I think he'll be good in spots. I think he could be one of those guys that you bring in and makes a big catch sometimes when you need it. But I think his best days are done. I think Devontae Adams is kind of a concern as well for people that think, you look at Debo's fall off, you look at Devontae Adams' fall off, you look at Alvin Kamara's fall off. I know different positions, but it's very evident when you see it coming. And Alvin Kamara, you totally saw it. I saw it coming. I pounded the sand on it. Like, what are you guys doing? Over and over and over, beating a dead horse. Don't draft Alvin Kamara to win you championships in 2025, and he absolutely didn't. He failed you. I do kind of like him at free value and underdog because he could have like 2 or 3 games, and who knows what happens. But I still think he's not in a redraft setting, a non-best ball, a yearly league, your buddy league, your home league. Don't draft Alvin Kamara. There are certain players that make more sense. Like Debo makes a little sense in best ball, just because if you get 3-4 games out of him that are good, and then he's trash the rest of the year, that loses you your league and yearly leagues, and it could be beneficial in best ball. Best ball has got a little bit different feel to it. Yeah, AJB. Silver, I'm out on AJB if he stays in Philly. If he goes to New England as their starter, I'm back on board. If he goes to Buffalo as a starter, they're not starter. He goes to Buffalo or New England as the starter. As the one. I'm back on board AJB. AJB in a Buffalo or New England situation, saddle me on the rocket. Let's go.
You've just
AJB in Philly.
You've just been Smitty.
No thanks. No thanks. Kick rocks. Rumble, you got anything else? Rumble, appreciate you. Well, Mike Evans, this is according to FDX. FDX, appreciate you. Will Mike Evans find a new team this upcoming season? Yeah, well, he doesn't have a team, so of course he will. But I think Buffalo, New England, those are the key landing spots. And then we just talked about Mike Evans going to Washington. FDX, make sure you rewatch the show if you missed the beginning, because we did talk about that. Mike Evans is definitely an option for the Washington Commanders and would be a fantastic one. JD5 is so accurate, imagine him being able to have moments where he goes, screw it, I'll just throw it up over there. And that's not how JD5 even needs to throw, because he's so pinpoint accurate. But imagine having that flexibility where JD5 can just literally launch a football up in the air and just say, I don't know. That's how Caleb throws it. So, JD5 would have a field day with Mike Evans. That would be unbelievable. So you bring in Mike Evans with scary Terry McLaurin, and then you trade for Breece Hall or draft Jeremiah Love. Washington to the moon. Washington to the mother freaking moon. Evans, as I said earlier, so FD, go watch the rewatch it. I think Mike Evans is going to be a under 1,000 yard per season player moving forward. And he may only play one more year. And we had to wait. We got official word yesterday that he's leaning toward playing 2026. So he could retire. But it sounds like he's not. But I believe we're getting probably could we get like a 10, like 1,000 even, like 1,001 yard type of season, because they, force feed him 1,000 yards. But I think you're more likely to get like an 890 to 950 wide receiver for receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, like 10. Like that's the kind of thing that Adams provided you. Adams had 789 yards last year. That is alarming. Anybody thinking Devontae Adams is a safe bet this year as a wide receiver one, I got a bridge to sell you, an invisible one. Because this man, Devontae Adams, had 789 yards. It just so happened he had 14 touchdowns, which is a hard thing to replicate. So, guys, appreciate you. I'll see you all tomorrow for multiple videos. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm live whenever big news breaks. Please click the links in the description. First of all, check out all my sponsors below. Help the channel out. But my link in the description for the Patreon, it's in the Rumble description and the YouTube description. 24/7, 365 live chat group. It's a 24/365 live chat group that I'm a part of, that Travis is a part of, that all the amazing regulars on YouTube are a part of. Check it out. Okay, be a part of it. And then on top of that, the content that I've done for 20 plus years, rankings, bold predictions, trade calculators, all the rookies are included. Check it out. Link in description. It's thefantasyfootballshow.com. So check out my content at thefantasyfootballshow.com. See you tomorrow for a midday video or live stream that will be on the main channel here and on Rumble. A later evening graveyard YouTube live stream on the main channel that will also be on Rumble. And then some sort of Dynasty video or live stream. See you all later. Jonathan, thank you for that super chat, my boy. Worldwide and Jonathan, thank you both for those the supers, my boy. My boys. Thank you, Worldwide. See you all tomorrow. Later, Rumble.